даний час під нашим контролем знаходиться
першу міжурядову угоду про таке співробітництво.
Морального аргументу.
Пан президент України Верховний Головнокомандувач Збройних Сил України, Сили оборони України.
It's a major shake-up in Ukraine, the biggest since the war broke out. President Volodymyr Zelensky is reshaping his core team. Some familiar faces are out and new ones are in. The plan is to replace more than half of the cabinet. And what a time to do it. Just as Russia unleashed a massive missile attack. But what exactly is Zelensky hoping to achieve here? Who has he fired and why now? So far, 7 ministers have resigned. 1 presidential aide was also fired. This includes Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. Chances are you're familiar with this man. Kuleba has been Zelensky's trusted diplomatic messenger. He's traveled to Europe, to North America, to Latin America, to Africa, even to India and China. His job was to drum up support for Ukraine. Well, not anymore. Kuleba announced his resignation today. So did the Justice Minister, the Environment Minister, the Strategic Industries Minister, and 2 Deputy Prime Ministers. Although it's not game over for all of them, chances are they will get different portfolios. And Zelensky has not really explained why he's doing this. He just gave a vague justification on Tuesday. Listen to what he said.
Autumn will be extremely important for Ukraine. Our state institutions must be organized in a way that ensures Ukraine achieves all the results we need, all of us. To this end, we must strengthen certain areas within the government, and personnel decisions have been prepared. I also anticipate a different emphasis on certain areas of our foreign and domestic policy.
So 50% of the cabinet was replaced, and Zelensky's justification is that the season is changing. What does autumn have to do with politics? Well, after autumn comes winter, and Russia is looking to capitalize on that. They are targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. No energy, no heating. No heating, no morale. That is what Russia is betting on. So yes, Ukraine does need to prepare for the winter, but it's not clear how a cabinet reshuffle will help. Not like ministers are laying gas pipelines. So clearly there is more at play. Possibly domestic politics. You see, Zelensky's core team has been running a tight ship. They have an iron grip over affairs, whether it's foreign policy or military strategy. If you disagree with them, you're out. Consider what happened to the last army chief. He said the war had reached a stalemate, and weeks later he was replaced. The problem here is a lack of accountability. Zelensky has declared martial law in Ukraine, so democracy has basically been paused. The parliamentary elections were supposed to be held last year. The presidential polls were scheduled for this year, but both were postponed. So Zelensky and his party still control everything in Ukraine, which is quite different from other wartime regimes. Just look at Israel. When war broke out, they formed a unity government. Basically, the opposition joined the cabinet, and it is common practice during wars. But Zelensky has not done that. He has accumulated power in his office. Some opposition lawmakers have criticized this. They've been calling for a unity government in Kiev. They say this is a government without ministers. Some US senators have also chimed in. They want Zelensky to hold elections amid the war. Maybe that is why he's shuffling his cabinet. It's not an election, but it is a symbolic change. And the timing is also important. Zelensky is heading to the US later this month. He will present what he calls a victory plan to the US president, Joe Biden. So he'll need a new team by then. But a bigger challenge is the Russian onslaught. Today, Moscow unleashed another attack. The target was the city of Lviv. Reports say 13 missiles and 29 drones were fired today. Some of them hit civilian infrastructure. City officials claimed 7 people were killed in the attack. Among them were 3 children. Lviv is in western Ukraine. It's also close to the Polish border, so Poland scrambled fighter jets to ward off any threat. An even bigger attack happened yesterday. Russia fired 2 ballistic missiles at Poltava. It's a city in central Ukraine. One of them hit a military academy in the city. The other crashed into a hospital. Kiev says more than 50 people, 50 people have been killed, plus more than 200 others have been injured. It's one of the deadliest attacks since the war began. These attacks are putting pressure on Kiev. Zelensky is pleading for air defense systems from allies, basically weapons to shoot down Russian missiles. Meanwhile, Moscow is pushing on. Today, they announced a major decision. Russia is tweaking its nuclear doctrine. And this is very important. A nuclear doctrine tells you when a country will use nuclear weapons, under what circumstances. Russia's current doctrine was set in the year 2020. It has 2 main conditions, either a nuclear attack on Russia or a conventional attack that threatens Russia's existence. These are the 2 scenarios when Russia will use nukes. Both are quite unrealistic. But Moscow is now tweaking that doctrine. They're blaming the West for this change in policy. So things are suddenly speeding up in Ukraine, both on the battlefield and diplomatically. Zelensky and his team have been quite rigid about how to handle this war. Let's see if the new team is any different.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with 1 tree. 1 tree for humanity. 1 tree for Mother Earth. 1 tree for our future. Project 1 Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On this today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies.